I still can't believe how cute this package is. This is my first Stationery Pal haul. In this haul, I'm going to show you everything I got. We're going to do some pin test, and then we're going to compare the pins between my bullet journal and my Hobonichi Techo Original Journal. Before we dive in, I want to let you know that this Stationery Pal haul was gifted to me. I didn't pay for these items, but all of the opinions and impressions I shared today are completely my own. I wanted to show you everything that I got in my Stationery Pal box. I was able to select the things that I wanted to get. So first off, I got these really cool rulers, specifically for journaling. I haven't opened them yet, but I felt like I needed something just super easy, maybe to carry in like my journaling case or something, to make my straight lines, especially in like my Hobonichi where I make my own layouts. I think this is going to be really helpful. And then I thought this little thing was really cool. It can also be used as a ruler to make straight lines, but it also has all these little things to make circles in, and it like rotates so I can make other circles. It has all the indentions for lines. So I thought this was a really cool little device. I also got some journaling supplies. So if you've seen any of my videos in the past, I don't really use a lot of like paper products and things like this in my journals, just because I like to draw my own things. I like to use all my different markers and things that I have, but I really thought these were really cute, and I figured that I could use them somehow. And then I got these. Look how cute. I love frogs, so of course anything with frogs I normally buy. These are just little sticky notes. So cute. And then I love this little corgi one. Kind of reminds me of my dog, so I went ahead and got that. We are going to start swatching some of these pins in my bullet journal that I use. So this bullet journal is by String and Space. I got it from Amazon. It has these beautiful foiled pages. I did another YouTube video on this, so if you want to check that one out, you can click on the video now. This journal has pages that are 170 GSM paper, so I can paint on it. It's pretty thick. I can have, watercolors and all that. So we're going to compare this then to my Hobonichi journal that of course has a lot thinner paper. So we're just going to see the differences with these pins. So we are going to start off with the brush pins. Of course, I'm so excited to try this brush sign pin by Pentel. This is in the color Light Violet.
Wow!
Ew, I really like this. I really enjoy the nib on this. It's maybe in between a loose and a hard nib. That's kind of hard to explain. So if you've used these small brush pens, you kind of know what I'm talking about, because there's some that have a looser brush nib and then some that have a more harder nib. I prefer the harder ones. Ooh, I really like this black one. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. This is a really nice pen. Next we have a Zebra Smoky brush. This nib looks like it's a little bit longer, which is pretty traditional with zebra pins, especially these smaller pins. They tend to have a little bit more of a looser nib. Let's see. Oh yeah, much looser because of the longer nib. So if you like a looser nib, you might really like this one. Smoky brush. I mean, I like it. I kind of like how it gives that like brushy effect. Like if you're painting with a paintbrush or something, that's kind of what it reminds me of. Next, we're gonna use the Pentel brush sign pin twin. So let's do the small one and just label it that way. See, this is a much, yeah, because the nib is so little, you have a lot more control with it, so it's not as flowy either. Interesting. All right, let's use the thicker side. Wow. It's very thick, definitely for bigger writing. I like it. I don't really like the sound that brush pens make or any markers make, so that's funny being a lettering person, but I do like it. I like how dark it is. Definitely made for bigger lettering. Okay, next we're gonna do these Zig. So this is the Zig Memory Systems and the Brushable. So it's 2 different colors. So we're gonna try with Big Nib 2. See, this one is a little bit harder. So you can see that it's just a little bit smaller in writing. And I just want to see what this color is. Oh, it's like a dark charcoal gray. And then we have this one, Fudebiyori, I think it's how you would say it. Let's see. Okay, it's another brush pen. Oh, this one's much thinner. And the color's a little bit different. I don't know if you can see the difference of the color. Ooh, I really like this one. I like how small you can make those strokes, even though this is a pretty big brush. Lots of control in this one, and I love that color. Let me see if you guys can see it. The difference of the color on the screen, you can definitely see it. This one is much darker. And then we have this Zig Mangaka Flexible in medium. This one looks a little bit smaller. Let's see. And this is their Cartoonist brand. Ooh. This is even smaller. Like it's even harder, like the brush nib is. I mean, it's their Cartoonist brand, so I'm assuming that's why it's kind of like brushy like that. Very hard nib. I like it. I still prefer this one, I think. Okay, so that's all I have for the brush pens. Now we're gonna move on to the pen test on this side. We're gonna go in straight with this platinum fountain pen. This is supposed to be in a fine nib, which normally all my fountain pens that I have are in medium or bold tips. So I'm curious to see how this fine tip is gonna work. So let's see. Uh-oh. Well, the next pin is this Muji compact pin. It's this tiny little brown pin. Like I said, this feels kind of heavyweight. Like normally when you see these little pins, they kind of look like cheap little pins, but this feels really nice. So let's see. Oh, it's brown. It's very smooth. And I really like this color. Again, I'm not into a lot of like colored pins, but this is really cute. Like this would be really good for my coffee bullet journal page that I have in here. Might try that for February. Very cute. I like it. I want some more colors now. Okay, next up we have the Pilot Juice. I hear so much about this pen that I'm so excited to try it out. So this is in a 0.5. So let's see. Okay. A little bit of smearing with the little dot that I made. But doesn't seem to smear after that. I think it was just the dot that I made. Maybe put a little bit too much juice into. One thing I will say that when you write with this, you can kind of hear the clitter clacker of maybe the little spring. So that's interesting. Now, of course, I love this color, so honestly, I would just use it just because I love the color, but it also just writes really smoothly. I really like that. I have a second Pilot Juice pen. This one doesn't seem to be super clitter clackery. So let's try it out. This is also in a 0.5. Oh no, I can still hear it. It's just the little springs, I think, from this thing that you can hear. But it's still a very good pen, writes very smoothly. There was barely any smearing. And then I also got a Pilot Juice in the white color. So since we have this black up here, I kind of just want to add some highlights and see how that would look. I can kind of see the white. I feel like I don't have a lot of luck with white pens. You can see it on the paper. So maybe on like black paper we need to test it out. I have this random black envelope here that we're just gonna test this really quick. So this is, oh yeah, see? Okay, so you can see it does write. It may not be as opaque as obviously like an acrylic brush pen or something like that, a acrylic brush pen or like a paint pen or anything, but it is a gel pen, so that was pretty good. Okay, next up is my FriXion Pilot. This is in a 0.5, and this is the one that has the eraser, so I'm pretty curious. Now these, you don't push it from up here, you push it from here. So let's see. This is, it's so scratchy. Pilot FriXion. It did smear a little bit. Okay, that one didn't smear. I think it's just the dots that I'm making. All right, let's try to erase. I'm just gonna do oh, that's pretty good. I mean, my initial thoughts on this, I wish it wrote nicer. You can see it's a little bit scratchy, I guess. I don't know how else to put it. It's just not as opaque. I like my pens to be very dark and very black, and this just doesn't give me that. But the erasable part is pretty convenient, so I guess you just got to figure out what is more important to you. Next we have this Sarasa Dry Airfit grip in a 0.5. Again, this feels a lot nicer than your typical Sarasa clip that you would get. So I have these. I'm not a big fan of these Sarasa clips. They write very scratchy, and it almost kind of reminds me of just like this kind of scratchiness. So I'm curious to see how this very nice heavy pen would write. So let's try. Ooh. Oh yeah. Sarasa. Oh, I like this. Look how dark that is. That looks so good, and it's so smooth. Oh my gosh. And there was like no smearing. Holy crap. That's a really good pen. I think out of all of them that I've tried so far, this one's my favorite. Very good, Zebra. I like this. All right, and then the rest of them that I have are all Uni-ball pens. So this is the Uni-ball Signo in a 0.5. Love this color. That's why I picked it out. Really like that. It's a very easy to write pen. There's no smearing on it. And I actually haven't shown you guys the back of this, but obviously you can't see anything. Here's the back of this one. And I have some stuff already here. Can't really see anything on there. Pretty good paper. I really like this Uni-ball, and it's very lightweight, and I like that. And it doesn't have clicky sounds when you write with it. So I like that. Next is this Uni-ball 1 in the little small chunky size. Ooh. I like this. And this is an 8.5. Ooh, I like how dark that is. Do y'all see that? No smearing. Just a tiny bit on the edges, but wow, this is good. Now, the only thing about this one is that it's a weird shape for me. I write, I don't know, very weird. Like you can see I have a little callus there, because that's where I lean my pen. So I love the way it writes though. It's so smooth. And then I have another Uni-ball 1, but this is like the bigger one. This is a pretty heavy pen. So I'm just gonna write large. Wow, for some reason you really can see a difference between these two, and they're supposed to be essentially the same pen. I like the way it writes, but I really love the ink in the small chunky one. This one's a very heavy pen. Very nice, but very sturdy for sure. And then last but not least, we have a Uni-ball Signo, again in white. Let me see if I can see. Oh, this isn't a 0.1. Ooh. Must be pretty juicy if I can see it here. All right, let's test it on our, ooh. What? Huh, I like that. I'm gonna bring out my envelope again. Okay, so this is a Uni-ball. Oh yeah. This is a good white pen. Look at that. Holy moly. That is so good. I mean, look at this. Go over this one. That is so good. Oh, I kind of want some. Do they have it in black? I like that. All right, so now we are gonna try all these same pins and brush pens in my Hobonichi Techo. So I just have the original version, which is like the smaller one. So I usually only write with the same 2 pins in my Hobonichi, and then like the markers will kind of, I kind of go back and forth with different markers. So my typical pins that I write with are the Pilot Precise V7. This is one of my favorite black pens, and this is in fine, and the fine tip. I love, love, love this pen, and I love the way it writes in the Hobonichi. So this is typically my go-to pen, so I'm very curious to see what other pens would compare to this one. And then my brush pen that I normally use is a Le Pen Flex, and this is like, I wrote this heading with this. All of my headings are written with this Flex. So I'm curious to see what brush pens are going to be able to replace this one, because I use it for everything if I'm using a small brush pen. So again, let's start with the small brush pens. I'm extremely excited to try out this one in the Hobonichi. So this is the brush sign pin, and this is Pentel, I believe. Yes, so let's try it out. Oh man. I really love this nib. I really feel like this nib on this pin, is great for beginners because it gives you so much control. Like, this is amazing. It's so versatile. I love the way it writes. I actually would buy more colors of this, to be honest. And I'm like, again, I don't use a lot of colored stuff like this, but I really, 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 really love this. I think this might be my new go-to compared to my Le Pen Flex. Sorry. I love this. I'm super excited to keep using those. Okay, the next one is the Zebra Smoky brush. And we're gonna see too, I'll flip the page in just a little bit just to see how the ghosting is with these. All right, so let's flip and see. All right, well, they pretty much all ghost. So, I mean, at this point, I feel like with my Hobonichi, like once I have like a double-sided thing written, I can't really tell so much. That you can see, can't really tell that there's ghosting on there. So it is what it is for me. I'm gonna keep using this journal regardless. So this next one is the Pentel sign brush. And I think this nib might be the same as like the brush sign pin. Yeah. I love this nib. I'm just gonna write twin. I feel like I'm not writing the names of these things correctly, but I'll put everything in the description so you guys can really check out all the stuff that I got. I feel like this is, I really like the idea of these two, especially if these nibs are the same, because you would have a big, well, they don't look the same, but they feel like they write the same. I feel like it's like the best of both worlds. You get a big one and you get a small one in the same brush pin. I really like this. I think I might even get some of these too, of different colors. The next one is the Brushables. Oh, this is so good. Now I know these Zig, like Kuretake brand brush pens are a little bit pricey, but I feel like they would be so great for beginners, again, because their brush tips are so, like, they're harder and you have a lot more control when using them. So I would recommend these if you're a beginner and you want to splurge a little bit on a brush pen. I think anything by Zig would be worth your buck. Oh yeah, this is the one that I liked before. This one is really, really good. I'm so scared I'm gonna misspell something. It didn't fit. Yeah, these two, amazing. I am in love with this. Definitely would recommend to take a screenshot now. If you want to spend a little bit, this is what I would spend it on if you want a bigger brush pen. Now I kind of wish, I don't know if Zig has any of, oh, and I put Zip, not Zig, oops. I don't know if Zig has any like sign kind of brush pins. I would be very curious to try them because of how good their large brush pins are. I'm gonna have to try that out. All right, so now let's move on to our regular pens. Let's hope that this guy decides to work. I don't know, let's say Hobonichi's paper is better for fountain pens, so we can try it out. Let's see, this is, no, wait, oh no, okay, now it's working. Platinum, fine. Well, this is a little sad. Okay, well, I really wanted this to work because this fountain pen was only like less than $5. I guess you get what you pay for. I really like that. That is so, so cute. You know what? We didn't do a smear test. Oh no, it failed. We didn't do a smear test earlier. Well, I would still buy some more because they're so cute. Okay, next, the Pilot Juice, a clickety-clackety one. It actually writes pretty smoothly on this paper. Less clackety noises. I would still use this. I mean, this is a great pen. It's so smooth to write with. Here's just a plain black one. And then we have, of course, the white one, which we might not be able to see. Yeah, you can see it a little bit. And then we have our FriXion, which I'm curious to see how that's going to look on here. What is it? Pilot? Oh. Well, good thing it has an eraser. I mean, even with an eraser, I just don't know that I would be able to handle using this. It's just so, like, scratchy. I don't know. And then, ooh, this was one of my favorites. Sarasa Dry Airfit Grip. Why is that so long? Oh, yeah. That looks so good. And it's so smooth. Airfit Grip. Gosh. Okay. So smooth. There's no, like, at all. It's so cool. Dry. Maybe that's why. I don't know. The Uni-ball Signo. Oof. Am I supposed to, like, maybe I just need to do that. Yep, it's still stuck, but it's okay. Still a good pen. I would still use it. Thankfully, with the way that I write, I don't have to worry so much about smearing. But if you are a lefty, oh, this writes so good. If you are a lefty, then obviously take that into consideration. Oh, this is the... I really like this. Wow. That is so good. Okay. And then here's the Uni-ball one. And the larger one. Which I'm going to write large because, again, you can see the difference in, like, the ink and the way it writes. I really prefer the little chunky one. And then we have our Uni-ball Signo in white. You can kind of see. Again, I'm gonna go to, like, this one. Oh, so good. So I'm gonna flip the page, but I'm gonna kind of cover this so we can kind of see. This is pretty good, and it's funny because you can even see, like, the white ink through it, which is very silly. So the one that I see the darkest is the Sarasa Dry, just because the ink is so dark and juicy, which I'm not even mad at because that's such a good pen. But everything else was pretty decent. So here's a look at both journals using the same pens. So let's just quickly go over my favorites. So for the brush pens, if I need to use a small brush pen, obviously I think this brush sign pen by Pentel is my favorite. I think it's now my new favorite. I would definitely recommend this to anybody, especially if you want something small and you are just starting out, like you're a beginner. This is an amazing pen, and I definitely want to buy some more colors. I know that they have a neon set that I'm probably gonna go straight to Stationery Pal and try to buy. So this is definitely my favorite. And then you can see, let's look on this side. Let's put this little card in here. Now, obviously, it's all going to be ghosting because it's a nice dark pen. This is the one for the brush sign pen. Then for the big brush pens, I feel like these two were my favorite, the Brushables and the Fudebiyori. Again, I have not tried a Zig Kuretake product that I don't absolutely love. So I was so excited to be able to try these brush pens. I love both of them. I think I like them for different reasons. Like the colors are different, so it just depends on, I guess, what I'm needing it for. But these are so, so good. I love these. I love the nib on them. So easy to control. Definitely something to consider if you're a beginner. And then as far as the pens, if I had to pick my absolute favorite, oh, that's kind of hard. So my two favorites, let's do that, would be this Uni-ball one, and I really like this Sarasa Dry Airfit grip. Oh goodness. So these two are my favorite. I love that they are both so dark in the way that they write. It's this one and then this one. So let's compare them side by side real quick. I like how smooth they are. They're both very different in the way that they write too. Like this one just seems, this is like the smoothest one, I think, the zebra one. It just seems so like never ending kind of flow, while this one, it's also very smooth, but because of the barrel, that's what worries me, is that I'm not going to be able to write as much with this kind of barrel. Like I would get tired quicker. So I don't know. I can't choose. I love these two. So if you like darker colored inks, flowy inks, if, you know, I think, what did we say? I mean, both of them don't seem to smudge. There's that one, and then this one for sure. The zebra one, there was no smudging. So maybe if you're lefty, I would suggest this Sarasa Dry. Like this is a smudge proof. Now, maybe we should try a highlight test on them and then we can choose one. So my go-to highlighters are usually like these zebra mild liners. So let's try this out. Highlight. Okay, no smudge. Let's try this one. A little bit of a smudge. So that is something to consider. I mean, these are my favorite. I can't really pick one. So you can kind of just decide based off of this video if you're interested in any of these pins. I had so much fun doing this. I love, love, love pins. So this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching my video. Make sure you like and you subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment below and tell me what your favorite pens are.